Hello and welcome to my kitchen. We're in the kitchen today for math because it might get a little messy in here in a few minutes. But first of all, I'd like to show you that I brought some Unifix cubes. And if you have some like these, you're welcome to stop the video, bring them, and do these activities with me. So this is the first one we're going to do. I'm going to write a problem on the board and see if we can figure out how to solve it. Okay, so 3 plus 2 equals. Well, I think the first thing I should do is find 3. And there it is. And continue, 3 plus, oh, that means put more. So 3 plus 2. So I have 2. I can add them to the 3. All right, now I represented this number sentence with these cubes in this way. Yeah, I can twist it. You can see what was the first and the second part. So 3 plus 2. And the answer is going to be, you're right. You counted correctly, 5. 3 plus 2 equals 5. Well, now I have 5. So let's start with a new number sentence. 5 plus 1 equals. Well, that's addition again because I see the plus sign. Plus tells me that I'm going to add. That's addition. So 5 plus 1. I already have 5 and I happen to have 1 more. So if I snap it on the end, I have the answer to the number sentence, the question. 5 plus 1 equals 6. Good. Okay, so now I have 6. Let's do a different kind of number sentence. We'll start with 6 minus 3 equals. Okay, taking a look at this number sentence, what does the minus mean? The minus means we're going to lose part of it. It's going away, right? We're taking it off. So 6 minus 3. 3 goes away because that's what the minus sign tells me to do. And then what do I have left is 3. That's the answer to the number sentence because this is a question, right? 6 minus 3 equals, the answer is 3. And if I'm not quite sure, like if it's a big number, I can just use some cubes or something else to make a story with it like I'm doing right now. Okay, so let's try 3. Now I have 3. I'll make one more number sentence. 3 minus 2 equals. What do I do? Well, I start with the correct number. The correct number is 3. Okay? So 3 minus 2. So what am I supposed to do with the minus sign? Take away how much? This much. So 3 minus 2. These go away, and this is what I have as the answer. 3 minus 2 equals 1. Okay? And again, you should check your work by using pennies or stones or anything at all to play with the numbers and create your own story with objects. You can even just do it on paper with a pencil like we've done before. But definitely check your work while you're getting used to addition and subtraction. Well, that's all for addition and subtraction. Now comes the part I promise you might get a little messy. This is going to be fun. So, as you can see in my kitchen, I have many kinds of containers. Cereal bowls, coffee cups, even containers for holding something else that's a lot more. Well, let me read a little story to you about these containers and see if you can help me figure out which container is for what and for whom. Here's the story. Brown always eats more cereal than Mrs. Brown, but Mrs. Brown always drinks more coffee than Farmer Brown. After breakfast, Mrs. Brown has chores to do in the kitchen, and Farmer Brown has chores to do in the barn. Mrs. Brown will be baking a cake this morning. She will need a mixing bowl to mix the ingredients. Farmer Brown will be measuring and mixing grain to feed his cows before he milks them. He will need a container to mix the grain in. Okay, so here comes the questions. This is the part that's the challenge, and I could use a little bit of your help by looking at these containers. Okay, so if you look at these containers, which bowl would be more appropriate, would be better for Farmer Brown to have his cereal? This one or this one? Did you pick this one? Well, I did because Farmer Brown eats more cereal than Mrs. Brown. That was in the story. So this is for Farmer Brown's cereal. Okay, good. Now let's take a look at the coffee cups. By the way, this is called a demi-tasse, and this is a big old coffee cup. So which coffee cup will Mrs. Brown be using for her morning coffee? Let's take a look inside, outside, compare them. Did you say this one? Well, that's the one I pick because we heard in the story that Mrs. Brown likes a lot of coffee, and I think she just wouldn't get there with this little tiny cup. So I picked this big coffee mug. Okay, and now let's take a look at the last set of containers. Over here is one kind and another kind. So Mrs. Brown is going to make a cake. She's going to mix a cake. Will she be mixing a cake in this container or this container? Let's take a look at the insides. I would say Mrs. Brown will be using this container because it's about the right size for cake batter. And I would say Farmer Brown would take this to the barn because that's a nice size bin for feeding the horses, mixing up all of the grain in it, right? So this is the smaller one and this is the bigger one. Okay, now let's continue looking at containers. I'll turn you around here to see the rest of the display. There are a lot of containers over here. Let's take a good look at them. So, this, boys and girls, is a liter of water. Can you see the L? There it is. Liter of water. This is a liter of water. This is my mixing machine. It actually comes with measurements, and there it says L for liter, and where it says 1.0, that means 1 liter of water. What are some other containers in the room that you might use to hold water or liquid? Maybe the teapot, right? It actually does have tea in it. Water for the flowers. For mixing up juice and serving it. And what do you have in your kitchen or around your house that you might use for holding liquid? You might even be able to use a big pail for holding liquid, right? Or even a kiddie pool. Some of you have new kiddie pools because the weather's getting hot. You could certainly fill that up with water. Or little containers even, right? Sometimes we have little containers. Here I have a small one that I'm growing my scallion in. It's a smaller water container there. You see it has water. That's a scallion growing, by the way. Okay, so I bet you can find some interesting containers for liquid around your house. Okay, now let me ask you a question. If I look at these drinking glasses, we look at them together, do you think this water will fit in one of these glasses? You're not sure, right? Well, how would I find out? How many of these do you think it would take to hold this water? Well, I should start pouring. I can hear you saying it already. Okay, so I'll start pouring. If it spills, that's okay. I have some.